I love drip irrigation systems. When I first got mine, it was really because I live in Utah and we're in a huge drought right now, so I wanted to conserve some water. Pretty quickly after that, I realized that nothing even compares to drip irrigation when it comes to watering your garden. But one of the first questions I had was, how do I fertilize all these plants? Do I have to go through and hand water each one with some fertilizer to get it to each plant? Or is there a way I can put it through my drip irrigation system? I did what I normally do. I jumped on YouTube for probably 3-4 days straight. I learned everything I possibly could about injecting fertilizer into your drip irrigation system, and now I'm going to share that information with you. I've got 4, almost 5 kids, so my time is pretty important. I want to garden as much as I can, but realistically, I'm a family guy and I need to pay attention to my family. So when I first learned about this right here, I really wanted to dig into it and find out what it's all about. This is a fertilizer injector from Haas Tools. And no, this isn't a sponsored video or anything. I really did buy this on my own about 1.5 years ago when I was first getting into drip irrigation and learning how to fertilize everything. This is what I got. This isn't something they sent me or asked me to make a video about or anything like that. This is really just me loving this product. Just to give a quick breakdown of how this works, it's a 2-gallon jug that you fill with fertilizer and water, and then it has 2 lines that go to it. And at the end of those 2 lines, you've got this little fitting right here. And what happens is you hook this up to your hose, it pushes water into your irrigation system through the black line, and then it pushes fertilizer out into your drip system through this clear hose right here. The reason why they make this outfeed hose clear is so that way when your fertilizer is moving back through it into your garden, you'll be able to see it coming through here so you know it's working correctly. Another really awesome thing about these fertilizer injectors is they're not just for drip irrigation systems. I could take this right now and hook a normal garden hose to the end of it, and I could spray down my garden and fertilize it that way. I could hook it to an overhead sprinkler out in my yard, and I could fertilize my entire yard that way. I could hook it to a little spray nozzle shower thing, and I could fertilize all my container plants out front with it. It really is a versatile tool, and I'm really happy I found it. Before we get too much into how this works exactly, let's talk about what kind of fertilizers you can use in it. Realistically, you can use anything that's water soluble. You can't have anything that's super grainy that's going to plug up your drip irrigation system. We use the Haas 2020, and no, once again, not sponsored. I learned a lot about this stuff when I was learning about the fertilizer injector, and on top of that, at the same time, I also learned about their micro boost. I used it all season last year, and I've never in my life had such a healthy garden as I did last year. I haven't been able to use it this season at all, been super busy, but this is my first time, and I know that my plants are gonna explode with growth as soon as this fertilizer's in. Now, I will say that if you are an organic gardener, this stuff is not organic, so this might not be for you, but if you are okay with synthetics, this is the best fertilizer hands down that I've ever used, the combination of these two. And everything that I'm using here today, I'll put links down in the description below. I'm going to be putting links straight to the Haas website, and then I'll also put the Amazon link so you can kind of compare and see what prices are going to be better at any given time. I will say that although I love this 2020 fertilizer, I am slowly starting to transition to more of like a full organic garden. So my question to a lot of you that are organic gardeners is, what is your favorite water-soluble organic fertilizer? Because I would really like to try it out in my fertilizer injector to see how it works in my garden. So go down into the comments below and let me know what your favorite organic, water-soluble organic fertilizer is. All right, now that we know what we're putting into the injector, let's go ahead and get it filled up, get it hooked up, and get the garden fertilized. So the first thing that I normally do when I'm getting ready to fertilize the garden is I put the fertilizer in this little jug here. So what I do is I just go to the Haas website and I pull up the product description for the 2020, and I look up how much of it I'm supposed to be using. For me, in my size garden, it's about 2 pounds that I want in this entire thing. But today I'm gonna be using about 1.5 pounds, which I already have measured out right here. On top of that, I need about a cup of the micro boost. So I'm gonna be mixing that in now before we're putting it into here. So real quick, all I'm gonna do is pour a cup of this micro boost into the container here. Probably should have grabbed a funnel for this. We'll see, let's see how I can do. I'll do it over the grass without grass weeds. I'll do it over the weeds just in case. Oh, I think I'm good. So this is the micro boost, and I have it in there with the 2020. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some water in here and get this dissolving. And I'm gonna leave a little bit of space here so I can shake it up real good. Get it shaken up a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect in here, it doesn't have to be completely dissolved. I just do this to get it started, because once you put it in here and once it's pressurized, this little thing right here is gonna be agitating it, so it's gonna be mixing it up on the inside. Okay, so now I need to fill up the actual fertilizer injector itself with the fertilizer. Technically, I could go hook this up to this whole system right now and it would work, but what would happen is this would slowly start filling up with water and then pressurize and then start working. And honestly, that could probably take 10 minutes to get done. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and top this thing off with water right now, so that way when I hook it up, it's already primed and ready to go. All right, good enough. All right, let's head over to the water spigot and show you how this whole thing gets put together. If you're getting value from this video, give it a big fertilized garden thumbs up and then share it with all your friends. It really does help out our channel a lot and I really appreciate it. Before we get this hooked up, there's a couple more important things I want to touch on. The first of which being is when you have a drip irrigation system, pretty much any system that I know of at least, or that I've had at least, you need a pressure reducer. So mine reduces down to 25 PSI, and I've made this mistake before, and this injector does not work if you do this wrong. This right here is part of the injector, and this needs to be hooked up to your system upstream from your pressure reducer. You need to have full pressure going into this right here, so that way it can pressurize the injector. If you have reduced pressure, it might not pressurize the injector like it's supposed to, and I think that's what happened with me, because after a couple weeks of this just sitting here, none of the fertilizer came out. I had an issue there, and it was honestly my bad because I didn't check the clear tube to make sure it was working. As we're hooking this up, I'll be kind of walking you through that and making sure that I call out where I'm at in the process. You won't be able to see my head, but you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Here is the fertilizer injector. Here's my spigot coming off of my house. I have a splitter here just so I can still hook up hoses and stuff to this. And then coming from there, I have a timer. So here's how we do this. Just past the timer is where you want to put the fertilizer injector. But if you don't have a timer, you still want to hook up this fertilizer injector up above your pressure reducer. So this right here is my pressure reducer. This brings it down from whatever my house pressure is all the way down to 25 PSI. So I want to make sure this goes above this, just like this. Previously I had it the other way around, and that's where I ran into some issues. Also, you want to pay attention because it will say flow and have arrows pointing the direction of the flow, just in case. My experience with these is you need to have them tight, everything that's on here. So I'm going to do my best to get it tight with these. I'm going to hook up to my system, which right here has the pressure reducer. Okay, put this in right here. We got to make sure that this is nice and tight because this is going to be pressurized. I'm going to show you the best way I know how to get this thing pumping out fertilizer as quickly as possible. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the water on here. I'm going to open up the infeed because I want this to get pressurized and full. I'm going to open up the infeed, but I'm going to keep the outfeed closed just because I want to build pressure. And then I'm going to open this and it'll start injecting the fertilizer into the system. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and set it for a half hour and watch. This is going to turn on. So it has started to pressurize this now. This is what I mean by you got to make sure you're tightening everything well enough. Let's get this tight here. Right now, this is getting pressurized. Now let's see what happens when we open this. So already, it's kind of a light blue. I don't know how well the camera's gonna be picking it up, but right now it's actively sending this concentrated fertilizer down here. It's sending it through this line and into my system. And what happens is this stuff is really concentrated as it is because we put 1.5 pounds of fertilizer in here. It goes and it mixes it with the water as it's getting sent over to the garden. So let's head over to the garden and check out some of those emitters and watch the fertilizer coming out right there. All right, so if you look right here, this is the drip emitter pushing out the fertilizer. So right now, every plant in the entire garden is getting the fertilizer through all their little emitters. The fertilizer is going straight down to the roots. I don't have to worry about it getting lost in the soil elsewhere. It's going straight to the roots, right where it's going to be used. All right, everyone, this is Mavis. She is our Cane Corso, or Cane Corso, is what I thought it was until we got her. It was a little bit hard to film today because she just wanted to be right here with me the entire time. So if she is someone you would like to see in the videos more often, let me know down in the comments, and maybe we'll have to feature her at least maybe once a video. Maybe more, we'll see. We haven't been able to fertilize our garden a whole lot this season yet. This is the first time that I've used this 20-20-20 with the injector. But if you want to see what it really does to your plants and what it did to my garden last year, watch this video right here where I harvest a whole bunch of pepper plants at the very end of last season. And wow, that was a good season. The plants were extremely healthy, extremely prolific. Watch right here and see what kind of plants that this stuff really offers. I'll see you over there. You ready to go inside? You want to go inside? Okay, let's go, let's go. Go, 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 go. Let's go.